Hey YouTube, this is my latest edition of Tech Picks. I know I don't always hit this very often, and it is getting close to the new format too, but this is an unusual tech pick. I recently went to the Absolute Powerforce pre-release. If you missed it, that's a shame, because it was a lot of fun. It's an interesting set. It's got a handful of good foils like most sets, and most of it unfortunately is kind of on the junk side. Not going to see serious play, quote-unquote serious play, but what actually kind of sets this set apart, for me at least, was how many commons I was impressed by and how many of them were really actually kind of exciting to get. First of all, Consecrated Light, which I'm not going to talk about too much today, but Consecrated Light, yeah, Black Wings, that's going to be a pain. Get used to it. It should be everywhere, I think. And also Gundari to an extent will probably be around. You can search him with Saiyan, so you only need to run one. And he's a major pain for synchros, which is everybody. So I don't know if we'll see him all over the place, or just here and there, or not very much at all. But he's a card to be aware of. I think those two got a lot of credit. But I've got three cards that I think got less credit than they deserved. Not to say they didn't get mentioned, or they didn't get credit, but I didn't think they got as much as they deserved. So here are the cards I want to kind of highlight and say, you know, this stuff might be worth something in the near future. First one is Reptilian, or Reptilianne, or Reptilianne, however you want to pronounce that. Reptilian is how I'm going to say it. Naga. This girl, not only is she really cute, but, yeah, lovely. Anyway, not only is she really cute, but she's got some awesome abilities to boot. First of all, she doesn't die in battle. Second of all, anybody who's dopey enough to get into a battle with her gets their attack dropped to 0. Permanently. Obviously, that's pretty bad. And of course, she also comes with perks like she's dark, she's got 0 attack, so she's searchable, recruitable, etc. And there is Reptilian support, and she does support the Reptilian deck. But she also fits very well in other decks, which is what makes her cool. Okay, yes, during your end phase, if she's face up, she will go to attack mode, and yes, that's a liability. But you gotta remember a couple of things. First of all, you're not defenseless. You contribute her, she has no restrictions like that. You can even use her as part of a synchro. And granted, this isn't like, hey, you have to put a 3-star and a 1-star to make a 4-star. No. You can easily just have some other synchro going like a 4 and a 2, and instead of going for 6, you could go for 7 or something like that. But there, like I say, point is there are a variety of ways to get rid of her. But keep in mind that anything that attacks her, even if it is just to inflict damage to you, is also going to go to 0. So that damage could theoretically all go back to your opponent. So I mean, she's just a really good card. But essentially, she gets attacked, she goes to, you know, you set her, she gets attacked, pop, you get a free one that goes to 0 and you didn't take any damage for it. Your opponent's not going to attack her anymore that turn, she's like a Spirit Reaper. Your opponent may or may not waste an effect to kill her, probably not, if they have any sense. They're going to force you to get rid of her for them, because she'll enter your turn, and you'll sack her, sync with her, or you'll give them a gateway to your life points. But it's a gateway with strings, and obviously if you're running something like Wabaku or Threatening, you can really squeeze some extra uses out of her. Put the pressure on your opponent to take her away for you rather than you having to do it yourself. So a lot of possibility here. Very good card. Next card I want to talk about, Inverse Universe. This is one of those that actually I kind of skimmed over. I think a lot of people do when they first read it, because you're used to seeing another clause at the end of this which isn't there, and that is until end of turn. Read this card carefully. It's just one short sentence. It just says, switch the attack and defense of all face-up effect monsters on the field. Period. That's it. If it's an effect monster, its attack and defense gets switched. And it's forever and ever and ever and ever. Which, obviously, when you think about most effect monsters that get run, that's a really bad thing. Because for most of them, that means they're going to shrink to like less than a quarter of their size. Or at least less than half, depending on who it is. Kind of thinking of different monsters. But a lot of them, especially in, say, Lightsworn, get really small when you swap them around. Granted, that doesn't apply to Judge, but that applies to most other things. So yeah, this thing's got a lot of possibility. I don't think there's a ruling just yet as to whether or not you can use it in the damage step. Personally, I would think they probably will rule that you can't use it in the damage step, based on the same principle that you can't use Reverse Trap during the damage step. But either way, it's something you can do in response to the attack once they've already committed. And obviously the same rules applies with other cards that switch attack and defense, whether it's permanent or just until end of turn. modifiers go on what was the old defense, and so on and so forth. A lot of potential here. This thing is like a Sakuretsu, I guess you could say, because it's probably going to kill the monster that attacked. But what's also cool about it is it's going to affect all their other monsters, which now you're going to get a chance to go after and take advantage of those stats, especially if you flip this at just the right time. This goes really well with cards like Gravekeeper's Spy and whatnot. So, you know, if Gravekeepers catch on, this could go in that deck. So just things to keep in mind for you there. Another card with a lot of possibility. And my third and last pick, Kodaris. Yeah, people talk about him, but ultimately I think a lot of people are just going to kind of brush it off. Because it's Yuumi. And even if this guy is a free +1 and can get rid of virtually anything, because that's a double Dark End Dragon effect on this guy, and all I had to do was sack a Yuumi to do it. And he's searchable, of course. Once again, can't emphasize how important that is, because he's 1400 attack, 4-star, super gettable. This guy can clean your opponent's field, basically. Plus, he's really good sync fodder because of his level. It's right in that sweet zone where you can make all kinds of good stuff. Yeah, I mean, running Yuumi pretty much means you're going to have to commit to it to some extent. But keep in mind that these guys, Sea Serpents, are definitely a subtype or type. I guess it depends on what game you're in, but they're type to watch out for. Reason being, let's think about it. Even though they've been one of the most under-supported types and archetypes in the game for so very long, when you think about the cards I've gotten recently, definitely somebody to keep your eye on. This guy, obviously, his big brother is okay, but Big Daddy is in a special category of monsters. That's Ocean Dragon Lord Neodaedalus. He's one of a handful of monsters, and he's in company with cards like Chaos Emperor Dragon, keep in mind, who can actually send everything, not only on the field, but in each player's hand to the grave. That's a very unique category of people. So his Big Daddy is pretty tough. And Yuumi pumps a lot of other stuff. But more importantly, there are other Sea Serpent cards which are beginning to come out to make a really cohesive deck. Deep Sea Diva, and of course her partner in crime, Spine Gilman, who can make an easy, what am I trying to say, Catastor. Sorry, it's early in the morning. That's always when I record, by the way, in case y'all didn't know that. Yeah, just something to keep in mind. This guy's amazing. He sinks really easily. You can always reanimate him if you want. Basically, bring him out here, clean your opponent's field by sending to the grave, keep in mind, and then play everything else behind him, like, say, you can call him back, for example, which would be a great play. And then you could Deep Sea Diva, get another Diva, and go from there. Or you could Diva and get a Spine Gilman, however you want to do that. Or you could end a turn with Mother Grizzly, search for Mother Grizzly, and then on the final attack you go get Kodaris. And of course, keep in mind that since he's at 1400, even if this guy dies, it's not such a big deal, because Water has a very special way to recruit stuff, and that's from the grave with Salvage, another +1. And remember that since this guy ditches one of your cards to get 2 of your opponents, he +1s you. A +1 that gets you a +1. Yeah, that's what they call serious card advantage, and Water does offer you a lot of card advantage in this Sea Serpent archetype which is arriving. So, bottom line, definitely another card to keep your eye on. So, 3 really good commons. Pick up playsets. You know, commons are easy to get playsets of, no reason not to, and you won't really lose anything if these don't turn out to be that useful. So, till next time, rate, comment, subscribe, and enjoy.